What's going on, YouTube? So I'm out running some errands. Thought I'd make a quick video for y'all. This one's gonna be over my personal experience of getting my personal trainer's license. And so I've made a few notes here. So if you see me looking down at the page or whatever, looking away, I'm most likely looking at my notes here a little bit. And so there's two kind of top competitors. Let me turn my hair down real quick. There's two kind of like top competitors who kind of certify people for personal training. And now I'm sure there's other, companies or whatever who make personal trainer's license and can certify you, but there's kind of two top competitors that I know of, at least. One of them being Ace. That is the one I went with. It's gotten good reviews. I think it was a little bit cheaper than the other one. I can't remember why. I bought this thing a long time ago, actually. And so I did go with the Ace personal trainer's license, and they give you 6 months to do it. I didn't even touch it the first like 2, maybe 3 months. It's really doable within like 2 to 3 months. I really suggest doing that. Don't, take your time and kind of just be lackadaisical about everything. That's kind of what I did. I wouldn't suggest that because it's a lot of information, and I think that's why I there's two reasons why I took so long to do it. I really lost interest in that program that I bought very quickly because I realized something about it, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So I lost interest in it a little bit, and two, it's just so much information that it's not a smart idea to take a long time, because then you got to refresh on the old stuff, which isn't a bad idea anyways once you're preparing to take the test. So first point being is to why I got it. So I got this license in order to personal train, have a little bit more experience, have a little bit more credibility to my name. So that's my reasoning for getting. I also wanted to learn how to truly and properly program, design workout regimens for people, and just have a little bit more, like I said, credibility doing that for myself and for others. As far as the cost, like I mentioned earlier, this was the lower of the two, I believe. It may have changed now. They're both run programs and like deals and whatnot all the time, so definitely check it out. Don't go based off my opinion of this. It could have changed by now. It was quite some time since I bought this program. But cost, it was about $500, maybe $550 before tax, so keep that in mind. These aren't the cheapest things to get, but the return, your ROI, your return on investment, is great. I mean, there's really a lot of potential for this thing, so keep that in mind. I did get the lowest package from Ace, and that included the online textbook, online study guide, 1 practice test, and then you also get like access to all the Ace dashboard, and where you keep track of all this stuff, and it has all the numbers and percentage of completion, all that good stuff. So overall, pretty easy to use, pretty easy to get through. It's just a lot of material, so much. And I guess I never realized how much it was until you got deeper and deeper into it. And that brings me to, is it worth it? This ties back to the very beginning of this video as to why I said I lost a little bit of interest in this program. And I'll tell you why. So for me, was it worth it? Yes and no. And like I said, this is my personal experience. This may change for you. You may be looking up, camera died, but we're a little charged up now. Gonna pick up from where I left off. And so the question was it worth it? And so for me, I think it was. It did provide a little bit of insight and things I never would have thought of going to the personal training field. And also just how to work with clients. It does give you a good outline, a good base to start, a little bit of confidence, and just also, like I mentioned earlier, just a little bit more credibility. If you're looking for a job and you do want to pursue this and want to get a real job with it, like through a gym or through whatever, you do have to have this. So I think it's a great program. It's definitely doable. Like, guys, I kind of procrastinated, and like, I'm not going to say I'm the smartest dude out there or whatever, but it's doable, 100% doable. They make it real easy on you to give you all the material. But lastly, guys, I just want to come on here and give you a few tips that I've seen on other videos, because like for myself, like I said, it wasn't the hardest thing in the world, especially after the test. You get kind of relieved after you pass and you realize, that wasn't too hard. But going into it, I didn't really know what to expect. And that's what I wanted to talk about, because if you're looking this up, you're interested in personal training, this is one thing that I don't see across all these YouTube videos, is that a lot of them just didn't really mention as to what to expect or what to exactly study. Because this book, like, you order it and they give you the, especially if you're getting the lowest package, because they do get pretty expensive. So I don't blame you for getting the lowest package. That's what I did. But some of the biggest tips I can give you is to, one, not procrastinate. This is easily doable within 2 to 3 months of just actually grinding it out and studying. 2, you actually have to read the book. All right, it sucks. They do have an audiobook version if that's what you want to do. I think it's an extra $100 or so bucks. But that's where they're picking all the information from. So definitely, guys, read the book, study the book. And on that, don't study 1 or 2 chapters, take a few weeks off. Study 1 or 2 chapters, take a few weeks off. Because that's kind of what I did. I would do like a whole segment, a whole chapter, and then I would take like a week or so off, and then it just kind of expanded. So like I said, it was easily done within like 2 months. But it took me like 3. Okay, so technically it took me 3 because I didn't really start doing it until like 3 months in, because they give you 6 months to do it. And so I finished within 3, but it's easily doable within like a month and a half, maybe 2. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the hardest thing in the world. So that's one big thing, is don't procrastinate. Read the full book. You're tested on, you know, everything that book is fair game. 3, do the study guides right after the chapters. I didn't realize we had a study guide until like the week before the exam, when I actually started paying attention. And those help tremendously. I filled those out, took all the pre-test, and then they have the keys on the back. So it's just an overlook of the chapter, but that's not enough to pass the test. So I ended up reading the book and just didn't do those study guides after them. And so that actually helped me, just because it was a refresher on all those chapters that I did so long ago. Hence why I say don't spread out the chapters too long. 4, guys, the test is 150 questions and you get 3 hours to do it. So there's not a huge rush in finishing it. And you only get graded on 125 of those questions. And so I just wanted to give you all an example, because each test is different. Each test is going to be a little bit personalized. So definitely can't like give you the answers or anything like that. But some of the biggest things I remember were water intake. So like before and after training, BMI, have some type of, you know, knowledge on that. The anatomy of the body. So they're not going to ask you what muscle is this, and then you just gotta, you know, tell the answer. They're more going to show you an example of an exercise. So for example, somebody's doing a squat and their toes are greatly going over their knees are greatly going over their toes, which, in, you know, to let y'all know, it's not a bad thing if your knees go over your toes during your squat. But they will ask you, because of this, you know, individual person's form, what muscle group may be overactivated. And so therefore it'd be quads. And that's, you know, when your knees tend to go over your toes more, you have more of a quad focused squat. So they're gonna ask you questions kind of like that. They're not just like, hey, what is this muscle? You know, it's gonna be a little bit more drastic than that. Definitely know all the complications they talk within people's bodies, where that's like high blood pressure, how to tell blood pressure, cancer, obesity, and then all the other stuff they talk about. I can't remember all of them. That's off the top of my head. Definitely have a idea of all of those and the key terminology. And like I said, go do the study guides. That pretty much goes over all that information. So those are golden, 100%, guys. Check those out, study them if you're looking to take the ACE personal trainer's license. One last thing, guys, take the pre-test. It's super easy. I'd say the test is a little bit harder than it, but it'll give you a decent understanding of where you're at and maybe some things you need to study. Other than that, guys, that pretty much wraps up all my tips for the test. Oh, and lastly, this is such like a easy thing, but that's honestly why you have to be able to get all these answers right. So on the building rapport questions, as to like, if a client asks you, you know, for example, you're knowing your scope of practice and building rapport with clients, those are like the easiest questions. So I would definitely make sure you have that down to the point. That way you get 100% of those questions right. And I mean, just knowing that alone is a big chunk of your test. So for example, guys, you know, if a client asks you to make them a meal plan, you're not allowed to do that, and you got to tell them, you know, or you got to refer them to a registered dietitian, stuff like that. But if you were to put on there, oh, just do this, this, and that, and recommend them all these supplements and do this, you know, that's not in your scope of practice. And that's such an easy question, that you got to be able to nail those. So those are kind of my key points, things that I remember, things that helped me, and I think that'll help y'all pass that test if y'all are looking to do that. That is pretty much it for this video, guys. Just something super quick, simple, and informative in case you're looking to take that personal trainer's license and needed some advice. I've seen some of the ones online and I just didn't think they helped a whole lot. So if you are seeing this, hopefully this helped. Give it a thumbs up, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one.